fun sports day. Fun. Good morning and welcome to the Sunday Morning Sports Podcast. I'm BA along with Jack Hirsch and James J. Train Martin. Hope you guys are having a very good morning on this Sunday morning. Sports during the summertime is a little bit but we do have some sports to talk about, especially the World Cup. Yesterday we found out who was going to match up in the semifinals with the completion of two games, England beating Norway 2-1 and Argentina beating Switzerland 3-1. So this is going to put us into the bracket, the semi bracket, with France and Spain will be taking on each other, and Argentina and England will be taking on. Pretty much what people thought the World Cup semifinals was going to be like in the first place. Spain and France were the favorites to win the World Cup, and they're playing each other. So we'll see what goes on there. And Argentina, because of Messi, should be the favorite to beat England. So we'll see what goes on there. What do you guys? I mean, I know we're not big soccer finessos. We're not in the World Cup like somebody in Europe might be. But what is your view on these games? What do you think? Between Spain and France, who would you think would win this?
Take it away, Jack.
I mean, I like France. They seem to be the most rounded team. Argentina is the most charismatic. They won yesterday without Messi making a major contribution for change. And they had to win it in extra time, actually. So as Switzerland was really stubborn, and had Switzerland just went into a defensive shell and somehow kept, Argentina from getting off any good shots, which you can do if that's all you're going to concentrate on, clearing the ball out. They could have conceivably sent the game into penalty kicks. And once penalty kicks decided, anyone can beat anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's no longer an advantage for the better team, but Argentina found the magic again, not quite the same like they did against Belgium, but it was like but they got the job done, at the end. We don't have any Cinderella teams left unless you consider England a Cinderella team. This is their greatest World Cup run in 60 years, getting to the semifinals. So in a sense, the UK, they're playing with house money. In a sense, they want to win badly. Don't get me wrong, once you get to the semis. But if they lose to Argentina, they go back to England feeling this World Cup was a major success. If Argentina loses to them, no. Anything short of winning the World Cup's a disappointment to Argentina, to France, and to Spain as well. Anything short of that. The UK is the only one left who, if they don't win the World Cup, could kind of look at it a little bit as it's been a successful tournament, like Norway losing to the UK yesterday. They're disappointed, but they were successful. It's a successful tournament. I want to ask you guys this. The officiating in the World Cup, goals being called back, use of the replay of all the major sports now. Is it the most difficult and most controversial sport, soccer, as far as officiating goes? We used to think it's maybe basketball, the NBA, the NFL. But with soccer, I mean, goals are so precious and hard to come by. You call one back, that's like a 15-point swing in basketball. Take 15 points off the board. Can you imagine that, guys? You take 15 points off the board in an NBA game. But that's what's going on in soccer, the equivalent.
People would boycott if you took 15 points off the board, or you have a ruckus in the crowd. In basketball, we're talking. I don't know a lot about the scoring. But just common sense. One, taking a score off the board. I mean, because most scores can be 1 or 2, 2 to 1. I mean, it's like you said, they're hard to come by. In big games, that's just really tough to call. I mean, but you could say this is almost like playoffs. So most times when you see in basketball, certain calls are not made, and it's just different the way you're looking at it from a soccer standpoint. It's just like I said, in basketball, fouling and different things like that. A lot of times they ease up on the calls. Football, they kind of do the same thing when you're in the playoffs. You ease up a little bit on the calls. So I don't know. I just couldn't see points being taken away. That's interesting.
But the flopping in soccer, I mean, that's worse than basketball. They had a rule in basketball they have against flopping like that. But in soccer, it's crazy. I understand you're running and you're moving at a quick pace. You're giving a little shove. But the way they dramatically fall, I mean, you couldn't. It's like stuntmen couldn't do better.
Yeah, they had
we wonder where OKC gets it from.
LeBron. No, Switzerland's Embolo, he got sent off in the match because of his diving. It doesn't get thing about soccer is you see that happen all the time. I mean, in a course of a 5 minute, if you watch soccer for 5 minutes, at least 10 people dive. They flop. It's like, dude, you didn't even get touched, and you're acting like you broke your leg. What? I'm not understanding. And then they don't call anything. They barely call anything if they call anything, or they give them a yellow card. I haven't seen anybody get a red card for that in this tournament yet. This Embolo guy that dived, he got a yellow card and was sent off because he had 2 already. So he got sent off for the rest of the match. But I haven't really seen too many diving calls in this World Cup. And there's been a lot of them that look like that people have been flopping. So
and they could do a better job, the television networks and the commentators, of identifying which team is which. Because if you tune into the game a minute or 2 into the game, you're looking at the uniforms, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm not always certain which is which country. Maybe you guys aren't. I'm just slow on it. And I have to take a look at the ethnic barrier sometimes, what country a guy might come from, what he might not come from. But it's hard because you have, the races are mixed, in most of the countries too. Mm-hmm. So you try to catch on once in a while. I mean, most of the time I'm okay, but there've been a few times in this tournament where I've tuned into the game a couple of minutes, like I said, into the game, and it's taken me, about 10 minutes to figure out which team has the ball, which country has the ball. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's not you guys. Maybe it's on me. I don't know.
You're right about that. Earlier in the World Cup, it was hard to tell these teams.
Yeah.
This is like Keith says. He's got these made up countries all of a sudden coming into the World Cup. And so you don't know these teams. I mean, now it's obviously much easier because you only have 4 teams to deal with. So. But yeah, in the beginning of the World Cup, I was like, what, who, what color, what color am I following? I don't understand.
I'm not going to say if it's the country of Poland and I see 11 black men, I'm going to know it's not Poland. I mean, I got to be honest about it. I mean, I could come to that assumption without being accused of anything.
For sure. You never know, Jack.
No, and it's
Right, yeah,
Austin Wells, Yankee catcher, Dominican. Come on, he looks American as could be, and he's playing for the Dominican Republic. I mean, we saw that all over the World Baseball Classic.
The class is professional cheating. From soccer, 70s, 80s, diving was hardly a thing. It seems that, yeah.
Michael's from the UK, by the way. Congrats,
yes.
Mike, for the UK.
Hey, good morning to you over there in the UK.
Semi-final.
Yep. Good job by your
Awesome.
your English team
Question
there.
is this: what would be best for the World Cup for soccer in large? For which country to win the World Cup? Would it? I don't think France or Spain, Argentina, because of Messi. If he has a great final game, that would be big. Or what about the UK? Would soccer benefit by an underdog like the UK winning it? I kind of feel soccer would benefit the most by Argentina with Lionel Messi, because I think sports build around a great star. You know, like when the Chicago Bulls won the title, you had Jordan as the focal point. I think you need a guy as the focal point normally. Some guys are genuine superstars, some aren't. Like the Knicks, Jalen Brunson, great player, but he's not a superstar on the Jordan Kobe level. I mean, you know, as far as popularity, taking off a transcendent star, that's what I mean. I mean, but Lionel Messi is on the short list of superstars.
Yeah, but I mean, soccer is such a huge team sport. I think the underdog, what you mentioned, is probably one of the more impressive things. I mean, Lionel Messi, clearly he's a superstar, but he's also 39. And you're not, I mean, it'd be a great story to see him and his team win. But, I mean, let's not kid ourselves. Yeah, let's not kid ourselves.
And in a World Cup, there's other superstars that'll rise up to the top as well. Mbappe, for instance, from France, he's got 8 goals. He's tied with Messi for the goal lead there. In England, you got Bellingham and Kane. They both got 6 goals. This might be the first time with games remaining that they might hit double digits. The last time that happened was like in the 80s, early 80s, they had double-digit goals. A player had double-digit goals in the World Cup. So you're looking forward to that too. And that's another thing too. I don't know who would win this race. I mean, Lionel, he got shut out in the last game for Argentina. He didn't get a goal. And Mbappe, he did get a goal in the last game. So, you know, it's going to be interesting. It's kind of like, you know, it's a scoring race. You know, it's called the Golden Boot, by the way, whoever wins the scoring in World Cup.
But the UK is the only genuine underdog left in this tournament, but they're not a major underdog like Norway would have been. Norway would have been a story because, like they were saying in the game yesterday, Norway's whole population is like 5.5 million. And they're playing in Miami with a population 6.5 million. So there are more people living in Miami than living in Norway. So Norway would have been like a true Cinderella story. The UK, a nice underdog story, but it's not a massive underdog story because soccer's been wildly popular in England for years. And if we neglect the World Cup completely, what country is soccer most popular in worldwide? As far as professionally goes, leagues playing, you know, you look at England, you look at, you know, clubs like Manchester United and on, and all those teams and all those leagues. So it's so big in that country. I can't consider England winning the World Cup like them being like a massive Snow White story.
I get what you're saying, Jack, but at the same time, there's 2 factors here you got to look at. It's been 60 years since they won one. That's one. And 2, I would imagine of all 4 teams, the odds of them winning has to be the biggest. I mean, the lowest chance of winning of the 4 teams remaining.
4 teams left. Yeah.
Yes. And so that would put them in a situation where that would make the news, I mean, more, I guess, newsworthy for them to win, and then a lot of people to pull from them for them, considering at this point. But yeah, I agree with you and the other with the other teams too.
I feel that the superstar status right now of the two main teams with the two superstars with Mbappe and Messi, you would feel that that would be a World Cup final right there, because it's kind of like pitting Jordan against, hypothetically, pitting Jordan against LeBron, you know?
I got to tell you something interesting too. And this is a difficult thing for the organizers because it's worldwide, and you take the time factor in to other countries. The clock is much different when to play the games. These games, these semifinal games, are playing next week, weekdays at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 Eastern time, which is reasonable because when you consider the times in the other countries, the UK, for example, is 5 hours ahead. So it'd be 8 o'clock there. I'm not sure France and Spain, but it would be around that as well. And it's never an easy thing to figure out when to start the game. I mean, like even the Super Bowl, it starts close to 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, which is fine for America. The West Coast, it's perfect. But if you consider people in England who are fans of the NFL, that's 11:30 at night where the game's starting. And I've spoken to people I know in England as far as when boxing would be beginning, and they tell me they don't stay up anymore. And these even reporters, because a big fight's going to start 3, 4 in the morning their time. And even Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, I was told by a reporter from England, he says, I'm not going to cover it, and I'm not even going to watch it, if I have to get up 3 in the morning my time. Forget that. And, and how do you get people to go to the games at that time? But that's England. But that's another story. But I like what they're doing the 3 in the afternoon, weekdays. If someone wants to see the game bad enough, if they're at work, whatever, I don't know how to work it out. Maybe there'll be a TV set there, whatever. But the USA isn't in the tournament anymore, so I don't think any companies are going to give people slack. But that would be interesting if the USA was playing, where the companies would give workers slack, because in other countries, businesses shut down for the World Cup.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It's soccer. If it was like a major, like if it was football in a particular city, that might be something. But with soccer in the United States, that ain't gonna happen. That would never, even if the United States was in it.
You know what they have too, and I don't care for this. Next week, the weekend after next, the finals are going to be played on a Sunday afternoon. The day before is the consolation game. The consolation game, I mean, this isn't the Olympics, they're giving out bronze medals or whatever. I mean, what Vince Lombardi, they used to do that in the NFL before the Super Bowl era. And Vince Lombardi said he hated that game. It's a game for losers, played by losers. That's what he said. He didn't want to know from it, but it was a game that had to be played. But his teams normally didn't have to play that game. So,
but it's a brutal
consolation.
It's
a consolation prize. The World Cup being done in the NFL stadiums has been looking pretty good too. I think they maintain the fields well. The two ones that are coming up, and one's in Atlanta actually, James. The Argentina-England game is in Atlanta, and Spain and France is, of course, in Arlington, Texas, at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. So, what is that called? The AT&T Stadium? What is that called now? The AT&T Stadium?
Yeah. Jerry World.
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's yeah. As far as the people that are the people that are watching the games, there's a lot of people coming into the country to see their teams. A lot of French, English people, Spanish people, Argentina, people from Spain, should I say, and then Argentinians. So I mean, they're coming in to see their team. So I don't think there'll be a problem with filling the stands up. And then you got your your folks that watch soccer on a basis anyway, and that's what they want. That's what they want to see, the World Cup. So you got that. So I don't think they'll have any problems with getting people in the seats during that time, 3:00. It's just
Well, that's
normal working folks won't see it.
It fascinates me, the fan base for the World Cup. I think that's the greatest fan base by far in all of sports, and I'm going to tell you why. If you travel to see a team in the NBA, Major League Baseball, NFL, you know the schedule. You know when they're playing, when you can go back home. What are you doing if your team keeps advancing in this tournament? Where do you stay? Where do you go? I mean, if your team loses, you're going back to your country. You're not hanging out anymore unless you're on vacation and it's all planned. What are you doing if you're from the UK, Spain, France, whatever? Let's say a team wins and advancing. Do you have hotel accommodations for the duration? Do you cancel them? Airline flights or whatever? I mean, so the people who go to these games, I don't know how well off they are financially. Are they spending their last penny basically because they're fanatics, to see the games? I don't know their financial state, but it's amazing the way soccer teams from all the countries travel, like going to another country and making accommodations and all.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you got to look at it from the standpoint that, like, a comparison to like the USA, there are multiple sports in the USA and multiple major sports in the USA. Most countries, and you're looking at individual competition within the state, but most countries are backing just one sport in their countries, and a lot of them are, unfortunately, are third world. So this is like a big deal. It means a lot to a lot of countries than the way we see sports. We see it. It's not like a patriotism sort of thing. I mean, it's a little bit to some people, but for the most part, it's entertainment. But to some other countries, this is their way of life. Is because that's just something that's indicative of a better side of what they're seeing versus what they actually living in reality.
So you're saying it would be more to the host countries winning the World Cup than it would to Lion fans in Detroit, their team winning the Super Bowl. That's what you're trying to say, James.
I'm saying Argentina or Spain or France than Detroit. Yes, because it's just of course. I mean,
it's going to help. It's going to help their GOP too. I mean, it is what it is. Like James said, if a third World Cup got into the World Cup finals, oh man, that would be so great for their country, because that's that's bringing the cash cows in there too as well. I mean, that helps their country out a whole bunch.
To the mafia probably.
There's a certain feeling with these countries. It's their game, their rite of passage.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we go all the way back to another sport, 1972, when Team Canada was playing Russia, in this summit meeting. And Team Canada thought this is their sport. This is, their thing, that they're going to win easily, Hockey in Canada, come on. And they had to struggle and come from behind to eke out a victory in that series. And I think it would be the same, with these other countries. They wouldn't want to lose to the USA because they feel, the USA has all these other sports. This is their thing, and but between the UK, Spain, France, Argentina, soccer is really king in those countries. So whoever wins it, and it's traditional, but England's 60 years. But I don't think they're beating Argentina, guys. I mean, I think Argentina, I doubt they beat Argentina. It's England's best chance, somehow get it to penalty kicks at the end.
I mean, England's a good enough team.
I like France to beat Spain, and then I like France to beat Argentina. That's my feeling, how it's going to play out.
Okay.
Yeah, I think France and Argentina would be a good watch. because like I said, you got
Yeah.
two of the leading scorers on those teams. So, and they'll be competing for the Golden Boot at the end of the day because that's the last game. It's the World Cup final, and they're both tied at 8 goals right now apiece. So we'll see what happens.
But when you think Argentina in the 85th minute, they're down 2-0 to Belgium. I mean, and even Tom Brady graciously tweeted that his Atlanta Falcon game, but the Patriots comeback against the Falcons was a little greater than what Argentina did, because that was a ridiculous comeback, in that Super Bowl game. But what Argentina did was amazing, against Egypt. What did I say? It was against Egypt. What did I say, Bell? Against Egypt, they're down 2-0 in the 85th minute. And to somehow, come back and win that game, 3-2 was miraculous. And again, yesterday, so Argentina, in a sense, they've been living a little dangerously. They might not be the powerhouse team that people perceive them to be.
Well, even that said, though, I mean, they did beat Switzerland 3-1, and that's without Messi scoring.
That extra time, they had it was 1-up. They came on an extra time. That's what I mean.
Yeah, well, Switzerland is a pretty good team too. People underestimated Switzerland too, but they're a pretty good team. But like I said, I guess the key point with Argentina is prevent Messi from scoring, which is a lot tougher than being said. But if you can do that, you might have a chance in the game. Because if Messi scores, I mean, that's going to put all the mood on the side, and the morale and stuff on the side of Argentina. And you don't really want it because they seem to step their game up when Messi starts getting going. And you guys got Kane and Bell. Yeah, England's got a pair of good goal scorers too. They both got 6, but and they can get up there and get that Golden Boot too if they advance further. So I mean, it's going to be interesting. What you got there, Jack?
No, I'm just thinking. Michael God mentioned Harry Kane. Watching him play, he's not that close to being on the level of Messi. That's just my impression. Michael's seen him play a lot more than I have, obviously, but whatever. But I guess we got to fill a World Cup, Brian.
Well, I mean, as far as those two players are concerned for England, they're not. I don't think they're better players than either Messi or Mbappe.
No, they're not.
At the same time, they are. This is the World Cup, so you can separate the event and say that they're doing their job as goal scorers. But yeah, we'll see. We'll get those results soon. Major League Baseball. Let's just give a rundown on what's going on right now. Major League Baseball. The All-Star game is around the corner. I don't know if you guys are going to watch the All-Star game. I think you may, right, Jack? You're definitely going to be for that.
It used to be a big thing to me when I was a kid and young adult, because there would be the American League against the National League, and it's still the American League against the National League, but there was a lot of pride in the leagues at the time. But because of interleague play and all, and the way the managers manage the game, they manage it like it's an exhibition game. And, like, who cares, like, who wins anymore? I mean, it used to torment me when I was young. The National League won something like approximately 20 out of 21 years. And I was an American League fan. It tormented me every year. I couldn't wait till the next year to just get disappointed again. And then the American League turned it around when I stopped caring and won like 8 in a row, and they started dominating. But last year, the way Aaron Boone managed it, he just managed it like he was tanking the game. He obviously wasn't deliberately tanking, but he couldn't have done a worse job had he actually tanked it itself. And the best players on in every situation. And there used to be a lot of pride amongst the players who would win that game. And I think interleague play has spoil the league thing, but we see it in the other sports too, AFC and NFC in football. There wouldn't be a feeling of as much pride who would win that if they played head to head. There'd be more than Major League Baseball, NBA West against East. There's still a little bit of a comparison, but they play one another so much, during the year, the mystique is kind of gone. And so to answer your question, if I'm going to watch the game, it's just for entertainment value, seeing some great players. But you want to know something? Great players only play part of the game. Managers want to protect the pitchers. They just want to show up, play 3-4 innings, and then, take a shower and change, and they're happy to get out of there.
Yeah, Aaron Judge and Vladimir Guerrero and Byron Buxton aren't playing.
Yeah, that takes away. Yeah.
Oh, well, considering Aaron Judge is injured, that's
Ohtani's not in the game. Yeah.
Ohtani.
I mean, like you said,
Ohtani won't be in the game. I didn't realize.
No, because he's injured. He injured
his knee.
There should be guys. There should be a rule. Any player missing the All-Star game who can't show up, because some of them use it as an excuse, shouldn't be allowed to play for 2 weeks when the games resume. If you're legitimately injured, at least 1 week. Okay, I don't know what guideline we want to use, but there's got to be a penalty, and they've got to realize, wow, I won't be allowed to go back, in and play. It's the same farce where they give pitchers a suspension. You're giving him like a 4-game suspension, 4 or 5-game suspension, but he wasn't going to pitch during that time anyway.
I think that the All-Star game is probably in the best place because it's the season's just too long to go and play a game at the end of the season.
Michael's 100% correct, actually, in one sense. If you having the All-Star game mid-season isn't good because we're voting for a guy based on what he's done part of the season, and the votes.
I've always thought of that.
Half the season, that's not good. So a guy could have a flat season. You do it at the end of the season. That's really good, but the only problem is there's no interest at that point. The World Series is over. The football is taking place. You want the game to be played at a good time.
Right.
I mean, maybe the answer is move it back to the 3rd week of August at least.
I was going to say maybe.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the season, I mean, closer towards the end of the season, but not right.
More games have gone by. Most of the regular season has at least happened. And name your team 1 week before the game takes place. And everyone has to play in the game. And if they don't play in the game for whatever reason, it's like I said, a 15-day suspension. They can't join their team, after the All-Star game.
But the only problem with this idea, Jack, the only problem with this idea is managers are going to start pulling their guys because, especially if they're playoff bound, you don't want any type of injury or any concern towards your guy having some sort of,
Listen, I can understand this concept. If you're a manager, you don't want another manager pitching your guy a little longer than need be. But I'm going to tell you something. It's the All-Star game. You should be allowed to pitch whoever you want. And the regular season manager has to be sure his All-Star is rested enough where he could pitch a couple of innings in the All-Star game. The game takes place on a Tuesday. I don't want a manager to pitch his guy on a Sunday and then say, well, he can't pitch in the All-Star game because he just pitched. None of that. The All-Star game's got to be made a priority. Managers should be made to slightly alter their rotation if they have an All-Star there. They can work all this out.
How about this idea for the All-Star game? I know I want to hear something from Jack about this. What if they started the All-Star? They did the tally of the votes at the end of the season for the current season. They started the All-Star game at the beginning of the next season in the beginning. So the open baseball season, you'd have an all-star game from last year's all-stars, because first of all, you wouldn't have to worry about players being hurt because they wouldn't be playing any games before that. They'd be in summer, they'd be in camp. And then you wouldn't have to, it'd probably be a lot more because those players will be healthy. You would have all those players playing because they wouldn't be injured because they're just starting to play, getting the baseball situation again. And then, you got a chance to warm up as a baseball player too, because that's going to be an all-star game. And you want to pitch your best, you want to bat your best, so on and so forth, field your best. What would you think about having one in the beginning of the year instead of having it at the end? Because in the end of, like Jack says, you got football, basketball, hockey starting. There's just too much going on for that to happen at the end of the season. What do you think about that, Jack?
I don't know. James could answer this, but I don't know whether James's attitude is the same as mine. It takes me a little while to warm up to a season. Before we know it, even though we look forward to a season, it begins, but we haven't gotten our footing yet. Even the NBA, James will look forward to his New Orleans Pelicans playing, but then again, he's not going to be psyched. But once the season's underway, you get more into it. The difference is the NFL. We're a little more into opening day, but even opening day in the NFL, it feels a little strange. Like, I can't believe the NFL season actually started. The weather's nice out. It's not winter. Beginning of the season won't create interest. It just won't happen. I think the only answer is when baseball is at a peak, the NFL maybe a couple of weeks before the NFL season, play the All-Star game then. So in other words, move it back an additional 5 weeks. And another thing about this All-Star game this year, it's being played the same day as the World Cup semifinals. Not at the same time. The soccer game is being played 5 hours earlier, but by the time the soccer game ends, then, the All-Star game is starting, a couple of hours later? And I'm not into it. I don't think anyone is into the All-Star game outside of it just being an exhibition. You know what I'd like to see? I'm sorry, James, and I'll give you the floor and I'll keep quiet. I'm talking a little too much. I'd like to see Major League Baseball make it interesting. The winning team, every player gets $1 million. The losing team gets nothing. Now, I don't care how much these guys are getting paid. For $1 million, everyone's going to want to win that game badly with that at stake, because that's the equivalent of the ultimate bet.
Yeah, to answer, I agree with the premise of that much money, because ultimately guys are going to play with heart and soul and make the game much more interesting. But I got to agree with Jack, Brian, in regards to when the game will be playing. The beginning of the season, you want to say that if let's just say you're a fan of somebody like Vladimir Guerrero and he's had like great numbers that season, the luster will be lost if it wasn't done within the season, or at least some remote close proximity of the season that played, because you would have forgotten all about it. And then it's like, okay, you're not seeing the guy during his reign and his power to get where he's gotten. He's being rewarded for what he's done in that season and not at the end. You would have forgotten it. Most people, the average person, is probably just not going to even think about it because it's out of sight, out of mind. I just think that, it's probably best during the season where it's at, or maybe like Jack said, closer towards the end. It's just hard to figure out because baseball is so long. It's just such a long season. And it's just, I think kind of where they have it at right now is probably the best place for it. It's just that it's not interesting anymore. Like Jack said, it's just not fun to watch. Just like basketball, they try to change it up, or football, the Pro Bowl. All those games are, football, the best time was right at the end. You got all the best players when everybody was done. And, they went to a phenomenal destination. That was very smart. Now they're moving it around in different places. It's just not fun anymore.
It's not even on a weekend anymore. It's on a weekday.
Oh, Goofy. That's goofy. Where's Rick? That's totally goofy.
It's about
Yeah.
entertainment. Let me ask James, of all the players in the NBA, for example, which player would you most want to see? Like if you have stuff to do, but the TV's on, which player would most make you stop and you want to like watch him just play? You're just interested for whatever reason. And I'm not talking about who's the best player. That's got nothing to do with it. And he might not necessarily be the most entertaining player, but he captivates you where you're going to more likely to spend an extra minute in front of the TV before you go to wash the dishes or whatever the heck you're doing, around your place.
It used to be LeBron James. Obviously, LeBron has lost his not his way, but I mean he's lost his skill set. I mean, not skill set, but his prime. The prime is gone, and so you want to see some of the guys go out there and play competitively, like what Kobe used to bring, what Jordan used to bring. All these guys, and LeBron did to an extent. But what I just saw recently in this year's All-Star game was the guy, international player, total stud. I mean, you called him a human cheat code. Wembanyama, he really played as if like his season was on the line, and so I was impressed by what he was able to do. Yeah. And I like the format that they had, international versus West or East and different things like that. It was really cool.
They're trying to make it entertaining.
Yeah, they made it entertaining.
That's the point.
Yes.
It's an entertainment. Sports is about entertainment at the end of the day. I mean, I still maybe say LeBron might be number one for me. Maybe it would be Wemby, but it's about entertainment. I mean, it's not necessarily who the best player is. I mean, that's what made Jordan in part. Jordan was the most, and maybe was the greatest player of all time. Maybe not. I don't want to care to debate that at the moment. But when you talk about who the most entertaining player was anyone more entertaining than Jordan? Maybe Dr. J. I don't know. Whoever goes in the air. But that's what sports is. Like Aaron Judge, I want to see a bat in his hand. He's the most entertaining player to me. Maybe Ohtani. Ohtani's the most charismatic, perhaps, but it may be the best player in the game. But certain players like Mickey Mantle. I remember as a kid, my mother called me for dinner, but the TV was on. Mickey Mantle's up. Everything had to wait till Mickey Mantle was done hitting. I mean, you have certain athletes like that have your attention. Like we talked about the World Cup. You hear Lionel Messi's playing. It has your attention. Oh, I got to watch Argentina. For as much of Lionel Messi as, anything else.
But in the All-Star game, like you just mentioned, it's about matchups. I would have wanted to see Ohtani pitch against Aaron Judge, that sort of thing. I mean,
you got that. James, you got that. The World Baseball Classic, when Japan won it a few years ago, the final out, Ohtani was pitching to his teammate, Mike Trout, his teammate at the time. So that was, great TV. But at the end, how big is winning the World Cup? It's like the NBA. You talk to Carmelo Anthony and Charles Barkley, they're gold medalists. Let's use Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony's an NCAA champion with Syracuse and a 3-time Olympic gold medalist. What do people talk to him about? But you never won an NBA title. Now, if you were Carmelo Anthony, James, think of this. If you could have an NBA title, would you give back your NCAA and 3 gold medals? Or if you're Jalen Brunson, would you give back your 2 NCAA Villanova titles for the Knick one? I mean, I guess the Knick one you would because it was so big in New York. I get that. But in the case of Carmelo, 3 Olympic golds and an NCAA, would you do a 4-for-1 swap? If you could be the NBA Finals, you could be the NBA Finals MVP. And let me throw that in as a bonus.
So if I'm Carmelo Anthony, there's no way I'm giving up my college championship. I give up the gold medals, the 3 gold medals, but not. I mean, that was special when he was at Syracuse. He was a freshman, So come on. I mean, there's no way I'm giving that up. It took it.
Mm.
You got to win. You got to win every single game. There's no consolation. They had to win every game, and he, as a freshman, led that team. That was very special. There's no way I'm giving that up. But gold medals, yes, I would give up. I would give up 1 or 2 gold medals. You got to say that you were on a special team when you won. When they did they weren't the dream team. What was their? I forgot what they were called. But anyway, when they won in 08 with Kobe
The
and
redeem team.
Redeem team, yes, exactly. I wouldn't want to give that up either, and because you're the team that came back from '92. Again, in comparison to '92.
Okay, Tom Brady said he would give back 2 Super Bowl wins to get the 1 back. He'd give an extra for the unbeaten season.
That's easy to say, though. How many does he have in his belt to say he'd give up? He's got 7 to do that. That's easy to say for Tom Brady to do that. I mean, let's just say he gave them all up to get that 1. Then I would take him seriously. Of course not. Right.
How far would you go? Would he give back an extra 2 at New England? He won 6 at New England. It's instead of 6, he'd have 4 at New England, but one of them would be the unbeaten. Yeah, and he'd have to win at Tampa Bay.
You got to put him in comparison to the still conversation to put him as the greatest of all time. What would the amount that he can keep to still keep him there? First of all, if he got that 1 back and went 18-0, that would constitute him as the greatest of all time. But going up against the likes of like a
19-0.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, exactly. Going up against the likes of.
But he'd have.
Let me say this.
He'd have.
That's what I'm just saying. Yes, exactly.
And one.
So if he gave 3,
that's what I'm. But the 19-0 would have been absolutely legendary.
For sure, that's what I'm saying. If he gave up 3, kept 4 plus that 1, that's 5, and then put still 1 above Montana. Montana.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So it's just that I would say 3.
I do that all the time. Like Boxing Writers Association of America has a contest, the Bernies. I'm going against the top guys. I'm going against Sports Illustrated and those guys. And I placed 2nd and 3rd and honorable mentions. It never got a 1st place. Never. One year I was ripped off a little bit by the judges, I felt, because I lost out to Sports Illustrated. My story was clearly better, but I think everyone read Sports Illustrated, the judges beforehand. So whatever the case is. But I always joke with some of the elite guys, I'm going to trade you my 2, my 3, 4 honorable mentions for number 1. Like you're always joking around and trying to maneuver. It's that way, I think, with franchises in sports. Like I like to kid around, you talk about winning being the absolute ultimate thing, but I could even throw this at Brian. The Detroit Lions, if you could have 1 Super Bowl win, but you would never have Barry Sanders or, Calvin Johnson on your team, would you do that? Because a player means so much to the legacy of a franchise. Mickey Mantle means as much to the Yankees. I wouldn't give up Mickey Mantle for an extra championship. Imagine Mickey Mantle was never Yankee to begin with.
You can't compare that anyway with the Yankees. The Yankees won so many championships. It's ridiculous.
You would give up Mickey. Now you give up Babe Ruth for a couple of extra championships.
No, you guys got enough. You don't need any.
You would give up Babe Ruth, but that's what
you got enough.
You said you give up Babe Ruth.
You get for an extra championship, he would give up Babe Ruth. Come on.
There's too many things to include in the field of baseball than just winning a championship. First of all, you got a whole bunch of them already, like you said. There's no way I'm giving up Babe Ruth. Just come on. That don't even make sense. We just talked about what Ohtani did to compare him to the likes of a Babe Ruth. And how many home runs he's had? There's no way. You're taking away the lore. Exactly. There's no way. For 1 or 2 extra championships.
Right.
That's not even a comparable thing, Jack. You can't compare that with compare what you said about the Lions with what you said about the Yankees, because the Yankees have a formula of winning so many World Series. They've already reached that championship status. So saying that you give up Babe Ruth to get a couple more, that's like. That's like being
And Jack-
greedy, man. That's being greedy.
To go back to what you were saying, Jack, about you being a sports writer and you placing second, third, and honorable mention, you sound like to me you were the Mike Mincer of sports writing. If you know, for those of you who don't know who Mike Mincer is, he placed second to Arnold Schwarzenegger in the Mr. Olympia in 1980 when Arnold was totally out of shape and Mincer was in phenomenal peak shape, and he didn't win because of the Arnold Schwarzenegger.
You know, I read Arnold's book. Yeah. You know, that's interesting because I didn't know that name. I forgot it, but that's great stuff. I read Arnold's book, and at the end of Arnold's career, I mean, he was kind of gifted the Mr. Universe thing that he legitimately shouldn't have had it. And he said it took him a while to make peace with the weightlifting community after that. They thought it was an absolute ripoff. I don't know the reality. Was it an absolute ripoff?
Without a doubt. Yeah.
So
he was totally out of shape. He had water weight on him. They even told him that you're probably not going to win this one with that water weight. And he said, this is from Arnold's mouth in an interview more recently. And he said that he came back. He figured out a way to get that water weight off. And he won the show, but it wasn't legit. Even the young people now today that look and do their research and look at the comparison, Mike Mincer should have won that Mr. Olympia for sure.
Is there a way to retroactively correct that, or leave Arnold in that position, but elevate Mike Mentor, and make him also a winner that year? The equivalent would be, I'll give you an example. They haven't did this the International Olympic Committee. Roy Jones got ripped off from getting the gold medal. Such a bad decision that decades later, his South Korean opponent and his son flew to Florida, and his opponent handed Jones the gold medal, saying, you know, you really won this fight. I mean, I shouldn't have gotten this. And that gold medal haunted the South Korean boxer. It's something Park something. The name escapes me. And you even look.
I want to get something like that. I think it was.
I even want to get something changed with the Boxing Writers Association of America. I think we're going to get this changed because I'm pushing for it. In 1938, Joe Louis knocked out Max Schmeling in the rematch. Louis was clearly the fight of the year. The problem is, it was the first year the Boxing Writers Association ever handed out the awards. And they gave the award to Jack Dempsey's the fight of the year. Dempsey's been retired for 11 years. Dempsey, white legendary champion. Louis, black, great champion. You know, there was indirect racism involved. You know, come on. I mean, it's retroactive. You can't take Dempsey's name out of the record books as fight of the year that year, but we certainly can now retroactively include Louis in there. And Ring Magazine did something like that with Muhammad Ali. When Muhammad Ali had his problems with the armed service, Ring Magazine had no one as fight of the year. They didn't want to give it to Ali because they claimed his conduct. So they didn't give it to anyone. Decades later, Ring Magazine retroactively made Ali the fight of the year. So my point is the weightlifting, this Mike Mentor, there's nothing they can do.
Because it's an entity owned by a person, Joe Weider. So it's and that's what a lot of people in the community think, that a lot of the championships that happen are kind of picked. You know, these guys are, you know, the guys that have long range. They have a guy that's like Phil Heath won it 7 times. Ronnie Coleman won it 8 times. And these guys, don't get me wrong, they're legit. But they look like they deserve to win those times. But they supposedly it's about business, and they want to face. You know, so
Arnold is a snake. He's a snake. I gotta be. I like him. I still like him. I
still like him too. But
he's kind of he's to me what Isaiah Thomas is to you. Okay, Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know what he did once posing? Listen to this. Him and one of his other opponents, when Arnold was at his peak, were posing at the end, and there was like a gentleman's agreement we both stop posing and we walk away. He had that gentleman's agreement. His opponent walked away and Arnold went back. It's like throwing the flag of surrender, but not actually surrendering. It was dirty what he did, real dirty. And
Was that Lou Ferrigno?
not
They
Lou
were in the movie.
No, it was, I think someone else, not Lou Ferrigno, whatever. I think Arnold was in Lou Ferrigno's head.
He was, and Pumping Iron showed that, but he also mentioned it. Lou Ferrigno probably could have won. He said that was the only guy that really, him and Sergio Oliva, I believe, were guys that he really thought would only beat him. But he got psychologically into. Look, I don't have a problem with the psychological warfare because you can't just be about the aesthetics. I mean, we're talking about bodybuilding, but we're talking about sports in general. You got to have something here as well to compete with your opponents in order to win. You can't just be what you're doing, what the sport requires. It requires a little bit more than that. And I think Arnold had that. He had that, and that's probably what got him. First of all, this is a guy that wasn't even from this country, and he ended up becoming governor of it. So it just says a lot about him.
And he became a mega actor, and he bought buildings, became a successful. The guy is absolutely amazing. But talking sports-wise with the bodybuilding, a couple of dirty maneuvers, but just reading his book about that last competition, which I never saw, even Arnold was talking how he had to make amends in the community with
you should Google him and look at his body.
Yeah.
Arnold had been in movies and everything between 1975 and 1980, so he looked drastically different. When you looked at him in 1980, he didn't look like he should have won anything. And Mincer was impressive, but he didn't win. So it's just what it is.
I'll tell you a good person that was a good critic of the sport, and that's Amon St. Brown's father, John Brown. He is a bodybuilder too, and he usually sometimes when he's on his podcast and they talk about the bodybuilding community, John Brown really lights into Arnold a couple of times because of those wins that he's gotten. A couple of those wins he's gotten they shouldn't have been wins because he was not in the shape that he needed to be in, and the person that was the runner up to him should have took him out. So I mean, as far as win the competition. So yeah.
And to speak to him, he was Mr. Universe. He's won a Mr. Universe before.
Yep.
Wait. Do you hold Arnold responsible in part for winning? Did Arnold manipulate the situation?
Oh, without a doubt. He knew the judges and everything. And they were like, I wouldn't say in cahoots, but he knew the judges and everything like that. So it was 1980 should not have been Arnold's year. Let's just put it that way.
The question for Brian: who's sneakier, Arnold or Isaiah? That's what I'm gonna say. Who do you trust more? I might trust Isaiah a little more.
James is an Isaiah Thomas fan, and that's cool. That's cool. Everybody's got.
I'm an Arnold fan, and he's a snake.
I was never really a big Isaiah Thomas fan, to tell you the truth. I was always a Joe Dumars fan, but I think Isaiah is really in the sense that we had this conversation before we came on, Jack, about how he is still holding the grudge against Michael Jordan for the whole Olympic thing, and the dude he's an a-hole anyway. As a person, he's an a-hole. He's a great player. Obviously, he's one of the top players in NBA history. But he's an a-hole. He's kind of like the same thing that I say about Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was a phenomenal player, but off the court as a person,
Michael Jordan doesn't tip people. He didn't tip. I heard Michael Jordan and Tiger Woods wouldn't tip people. They'd go out.
You don't tip. You don't take pictures with anyone. I mean, you don't do a lot of things.
That's low. If you're eating at a restaurant and you don't tip and you're Michael Jordan, you're a low life. You're an absolute low life if you don't tip.
Well,
anyone who doesn't
call it what
tip
you
in
may. He's one of the great.
I mean,
it's kind of like the same vision I have about LeBron, but it's different because I flipped that. I'm not really a big LeBron fan of his game, but as a person, that dude's aces. He's a really good person of the community. He does help a lot of youngsters out in reaching their goals, whether it be basketball or anything else. The dude is.
He made a school. Some of those kids have gone through college and everything already. So it's just
That's
but
something that Michael Jordan wouldn't have done.
Let me say this before we got to go. I know we got to go. Isaiah Thomas. I'm a fan of him as a basketball player. That's and like T.O. I don't know him personally and some of the things that he's done off the court, but yeah, I'm definitely a fan of him basketball wise.
More to follow in a future show with Isaiah. You don't think this is the end of it, do you?
And sorry, Michael, we couldn't get to your question about the NBA Summer League, but stay tuned into that. We'll probably blend that into one of our shows during the week. On that note, we will be back with you at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time next Sunday. Everybody have a great rest of your week.
See you guys. Take care.
Peace.
See you, Jack.
Thank you.